Picture this, the year is 1949. The average American home cost around $7,000. Fast forward to today, 75 years later, and that same home, it's ballooned to a staggering $270,000. Quite a leap, right? Now, let's consider wages. In that same period, the average wage has grown from around $1.50 per hour to approximately $22 per hour. Sounds like a good growth, doesn't it? But when you crunch the numbers, wages have only increased 14-fold, while house prices have surged 38-fold. So, what's the upshot? The American dream of homeownership is becoming more elusive. The rising tide of house prices is not being matched by wage growth, making it increasingly difficult for many to get a foot on the property ladder. This is a stark reminder of the widening wealth gap and a call to action for policymakers. As we continue to navigate the complexities of the economy, it's clear that a solution is needed, and it's needed soon. Welcome to Top Thangs, where we tackle the tough questions shaping our world. Today, we're diving into the heart of the American housing affordability crisis. Join us as we explore how skyrocketing home prices and stagnant wages are challenging the very foundation of the American dream. So grab your dinner plate of homemade cornflakes and share in our disillusionment in the housing market brought about by scrolling through Zillow. The rise in house prices relative to wage growth in the United States over the last several decades has significantly impacted the affordability of housing and the American dream of homeownership. Studies and analyses shed light on this growing disparity, highlighting key trends and their implications on various demographics, especially younger generations and low-wage workers. From 2010 to 2022, home prices in the United States rose by 74%, outpacing the average wage increase of 54% during the same period. This disparity was even more pronounced in certain states, with home prices in places like Nevada increasing by 162%, compared to a 47% rise in wages. The gap between wages and home prices varies across the country, influenced by factors such as local economic conditions and the recovery from the 2007 to 2008 housing bubble. Looking at a broader historical context, from 1965 to 2021, home prices have increased 7.6 times faster than income. Adjusted for inflation, an average home that was valued at $171,942 in 1965 is worth $374,900 today, marking a 118% increase, while median household income has only seen a 15% rise during the same period. Since the 2008 housing market crash, the situation has deteriorated further, with home prices increasing 3.1 times faster than income from 2008 to 2021. The average house price-to-income ratio in the United States has soared to levels well above what is considered healthy, making it increasingly difficult for average Americans to afford a home. This ratio now stands at 5.4, significantly higher than the recommended ratio of 2.6, indicating that it takes prospective home buyers 5.4 years of income to purchase a home, placing a considerable financial strain on homeowners. In terms of geographic disparities, only a handful of metro areas in the United States maintain a house price-to-income ratio that is equal to or lower than the recommended ratio of 2.6, indicating pockets of affordability in a generally unaffordable housing landscape. Conversely, the least affordable metros have seen house price-to-income ratios skyrocket, with locations like Los Angeles and San Jose experiencing ratios of 9.8 and 9.1 respectively. This growing gap between home prices and wage growth has far-reaching implications for the U.S. economy and society, particularly affecting younger generations and workers in low-wage industries. It underscores the need for policy interventions and innovative housing solutions to address affordability and ensure that the American dream of homeownership remains attainable for more citizens. It's important to note that these figures do not reflect the most recent data from the last couple of years, in which the situation has been proven much more dire, particularly for renters that have now been experiencing astronomical rent increases and are unable to purchase homes either. The American dream deferred. The concept of homeownership has long been woven into the fabric of the American dream, symbolizing stability, prosperity, and a cornerstone of upward mobility. However, over the past 75 years, an unsettling paradox has emerged. A stark divergence between the relentless rise in housing prices and the stagnation of wage growth for the average American worker. This disconnect has not only challenged traditional notions of housing affordability, but also threatened to erode the very essence of the American dream itself. As the cost of homeownership continues to outpace income growth, an increasing number of individuals and families find themselves priced out of the housing market, forced to grapple with the harsh realities of limited choices, extended commutes, and the perpetual rent burden. This dichotomy between housing costs and earnings has far-reaching implications, extending beyond the confines of the real estate market and reverberating through various aspects of economic and social life. This essay delves into the complex interplay of factors that have contributed to this housing affordability crisis, dissecting the intricate web of economic forces, policy decisions, and societal shifts that have shaped the current landscape. By examining historical trends, analyzing market dynamics, and exploring potential solutions, this work aims to shed light on a pressing issue that strikes at the heart of the American dream and challenges the very fabric of our nation's prosperity. Historical perspective: the roots of the housing affordability crisis. To fully comprehend the current housing affordability crisis, it is imperative to trace its origins and understand the historical forces that have shaped the trajectory of home prices and wage growth over the past 7.5 decades. We will explore the evolution of housing markets, economic policies, and societal transformations that have contributed to the widening gap between housing costs and incomes. The post-World War II era witnessed a surge in housing demand, fueled by the creation of suburban communities, the rise of the nuclear family, and government initiatives such as the GI Bill and the Federal Housing Administration, FHA. These factors, combined with a booming economy and relatively high wage growth, initially fostered a period of housing affordability and homeownership accessibility for many Americans. However, the latter half of the 20th century ushered in a series of economic shifts that began to erode this affordability. The stagflation of the 1970s, coupled with the decline of manufacturing industries and the emergence of a service-based economy, contributed to a slowdown in wage growth. Simultaneously, factors such as restrictive zoning laws, land scarcity, and the financialization of housing markets exerted upward pressure on home prices. The intricacies of these historical developments outline the intricate interplay between economic policies, demographic shifts, and market forces that laid the foundation for the current housing affordability crisis. The supply-demand imbalance. At the core of the housing affordability crisis lies a fundamental imbalance between supply and demand, a complex interplay of factors that have created a persistent shortage of affordable housing options in many regions across the United States. Various forces have contributed to this supply-demand mismatch. An intricate web of zoning regulations, land constraints, and demographic shifts have shaped the housing landscape. On the demand side, population growth, changing household compositions, and the influx of millennial homebuyers have fueled a surge in housing demand, particularly in major metropolitan areas and job-centric regions. However, this demand has not been met with an adequate supply of new housing units, leading to a constricted market and upward pressure on prices. Supply constraints, such as restrictive zoning laws, environmental regulations, and the escalating costs of land and construction, have significantly impeded the development of new housing units, exacerbating the affordability crisis. Additionally, the phenomenon of NIMBYism, or not in my backyard, has further hindered the construction of high-density and affordable housing developments, perpetuating the supply shortage. Furthermore, other factors include the role of speculative investors, the financialization of housing markets, and the impact of short-term rental platforms like Airbnb on the availability of affordable housing stock. The wage stagnation conundrum. While housing prices have soared, wage growth for the average American worker has remained stagnant, creating a widening gap between housing costs and income levels. Let's delve into the multifaceted reasons behind this wage stagnation phenomenon, exploring the economic, technological, and societal forces that have conspired to constrain income growth. The decline of labor unions, the erosion of manufacturing jobs, and the rise of the gig economy have all played a pivotal role in suppressing wage growth, particularly for middle-class and low-income workers. Additionally, the increasing concentration of wealth and corporate power, coupled with globalization and offshoring, have further exacerbated income inequality and limited wage mobility. Technological advancements like automation and AI have displaced jobs, putting downward pressure on wages. The growing divide between those with specialized skills and those without has further exacerbated income inequality. Education and skill acquisition play a crucial role in shaping wage trajectories amidst these economic shifts. Ripple effects of unaffordable housing. The effects extend far beyond real estate, reverberating through economic and social spheres. Diminished homeownership undermines upward mobility and wealth accumulation, perpetuating generational disparities. Lack of affordable options near job centers leads to extended commutes, increased costs, and reduced quality of life, impacting productivity and well-being. Housing costs strain household finances, limiting the ability to save, invest in education, or pursue entrepreneurial endeavors. Communities grapple with housing insecurity, homelessness, and the strain on social services. The consequences are far-reaching, threatening long-term prosperity and stability. Policy interventions and solutions. Mitigating the crisis requires a multifaceted approach involving policy changes, market reforms, and innovative solutions. Expanding affordable housing programs, rent control measures, zoning reforms, density bonuses, and streamlined permitting could increase supply. Public-private partnerships, tax incentives, community land trusts, and shared equity models present viable financing strategies. Policies addressing wage stagnation and inequality, such as minimum wage increases, job training initiatives, and investments in education, are also crucial. Technology and innovation. In the face of the housing affordability crisis, technological advancements hold disruptive potential, offering novel solutions. Modular and prefabricated construction techniques could reduce costs and timelines. 3D printing may revolutionize home-building processes. Digital platforms and blockchain could streamline transactions and increase transparency. Smart home technology, energy-efficient practices, and sustainable design could lower long-term housing expenses while promoting environmental sustainability. These cutting-edge innovations present opportunities to reshape the housing landscape and enhance affordability. International perspectives. The housing affordability crisis is a global phenomenon. Various countries have implemented innovative strategies to tackle housing affordability. Strong tenant protections and robust social housing initiatives in nations like Singapore, Austria, and the Netherlands offer insights into potential benefits and challenges of similar approaches in the US. Urban planning and sustainable development practices in cities like Vienna and Copenhagen, emphasizing transit-oriented development, mixed-use zoning, and inclusive community planning, have promoted affordability and quality of life. Alternative housing models like co-housing, intergenerational living, and micro-units have gained traction globally, presenting potential solutions. Envisioning the future. As we look towards the future, it is imperative to envision a housing landscape that is more equitable, sustainable, and aligned with the aspirations of the American dream. Shaping an equitable housing future requires exploring alternative tenure models, innovative financing solutions like shared equity programs and cooperative housing to increase accessibility. Emerging technologies like autonomous vehicles, smart city infrastructure, and changing lifestyle preferences may impact housing demand and urban development. Sustainable and resilient design practices are crucial for creating affordable, environmentally conscious, and climate-adaptable housing options. Envisioning this future necessitates prioritizing access, affordability, community well-being, economic mobility, and social cohesion, a reimagining of the American dream itself. Conclusion: restoring the promise of the American dream. The housing affordability crisis represents a profound challenge to the American dream's core aspirations of homeownership, financial stability, and upward mobility. Addressing it demands a holistic approach encompassing economic policies, market reforms, technological innovations, and a renewed commitment to equity and accessibility. While complex historical, economic, and societal factors contributed to the divergence of housing costs and wages, potential solutions exist. These range from zoning reforms and affordable housing initiatives to innovative financing models and emerging technologies requiring collaborative efforts across sectors. Restoring the promise of the American dream necessitates a fundamental paradigm shift, prioritizing affordability, accessibility, and long-term sustainability in housing. It demands recognizing the crisis as a matter of economic and social equity, with profound implications for the nation's well-being and prosperity. Only through steadfast commitment can we foster an environment where homeownership is a tangible aspiration for all, upholding the enduring values of opportunity, upward mobility, and shared prosperity. Final thoughts. As we delve into the intricate web of factors contributing to the housing affordability crisis in the United States, it becomes clear that this issue is more than just a matter of economics. It's a fundamental challenge to the ethos of the American dream. The widening chasm between home prices and wage growth not only reflects underlying economic disparities, but also raises profound questions about social justice, equity, and the future of homeownership in America. How can we bridge this growing gap to ensure that the dream of homeownership remains within reach for all Americans, not just a privileged few? What innovative policies and practices can be employed to counteract the forces driving up housing prices and stagnating wages? Moreover, as we navigate this crisis, how do we balance the need for economic growth with the imperative for social equity and sustainable living? I invite you to join the conversation. Share your thoughts on potential solutions for the housing affordability crisis and your personal experiences or observations related to housing and wage disparities. What role do you believe the government, private sector, and community organizations should play in addressing this issue? Your insights and ideas can contribute to a broader dialogue aimed at finding effective, inclusive solutions to one of the most pressing challenges of our time. Thank you for joining us on this critical exploration of the housing affordability crisis. As we've seen, the path to resolving this issue is complex, but not insurmountable. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Top Thangs for more thought-provoking content. Dive into the comments below and share your thoughts on how we can collectively work towards solutions that ensure the American dream of homeownership is accessible to everyone. Thank you for watching Top Thangs. Please hit that like button, play our playlists, maybe even while you sleep, use our videos as background noise, and keep watching those ads in our videos. Don't skip them, maybe click them to find out more. We really need some of that sweet, sweet ad rev so that we can afford rent or maybe even a house sometime before they skyrocket 1000% again. But seriously, we low-key really need this to be fixed. For real. For real. See you in the next one. Top Thangs, fam.